soft static and low hum in the background. I shouldn't be telling you this. I shouldn't even be thinking about it. But once you've seen something like that, it doesn't leave you. It follows, like the hum of an old fluorescent light that never quite switches off. I found the reel 3 years ago, in a cardboard box that smelled of mold and rust, hidden behind the broken cabinets of the media lab. Telabel read, cross-section of a living man. Do not screen. I thought it was a prank, or some old medical training film. I wanted footage for a project on lost science. That's what I told myself. You know how curiosity has a sound. A low buzz and pull in the back of your head that says just one look. I threaded the reel through the projector. The moment it clicked into place, the room changed temperature. It wasn't cold or hot. It was something else. A stillness, like the air itself was waiting. When the film began to roll, the sound that came from the speakers wasn't just mechanical. It breathed. It was the sound of something alive pretending to be static. At first, there was nothing unusual. A sterile white room, a chair bolted to the floor, and a man sitting perfectly upright, shirtless, his face wrapped in gauze. The camera trembled, like whoever was filming didn't want to be there. I told myself it was staged, old government experiment footage, maybe psychological testing. But the more I watched, the more the world around me seemed to shift. The fluorescent light above the projector began to flicker in time with the man's breathing on screen. Every inhale from him matched the pulse in my own throat. It didn't move, except to breathe, slow and steady, like he was counting down. The audio track carried a faint murmur. Not speech, more like air vibrating against glass. And somewhere inside that sound, a pattern formed, a rhythm. A whisper that wasn't meant for ears but for something beneath them. I remember leaning closer, trying to understand, until I realized the whisper wasn't coming from the speakers anymore. It was coming from behind me. The footage shifted, a sudden jump that made the frame shudder. The man's gauze mask was gone. His face, if that's what it was, looked unfinished, like clay before it hardens. No features, just impressions. He was breathing faster now. The camera moved closer, and every part of me wanted to look away. But curiosity has its own gravity. Behind him, the walls began to darken, not with shadow, but with movement. The color of dust when it floats through a beam of light, only thicker, heavier. I heard what sounded like a door opening somewhere outside the film room, but when I turned, there was only the same hum of the projector. Primera looked back and the man on screen had tilted his head directly toward the camera, directly toward me. The whispering rose until it filled every inch of air around me. For one moment, I thought I saw something reflected in his smooth face. A figure standing where I should have been, watching from behind the lens. And then the film jumped again. I don't know how much time passed. The next frame was darker, closer, almost inside the man. The label said cross-section, and now I understood why. The image wasn't of skin but of layers, shifting and transparent, like anatomy drawn by a nervous hand. You could see movement, pulsing, trembling, but no blood, no pain. Just motion. It was wrong in a way the mind can't describe. The projector rattled like it was struggling to breathe, too. The whispering became voices now, hundreds layered together, speaking in different languages, but saying the same thing. Keep recording. The light in my room dimmed. The air pressed in, and I swear I felt something watching from the cracks in the walls. Something trying to see me the way the camera saw him. I reached for the switch, but the projector didn't stop. The reel kept turning even after it should have run out. The film didn't end. It just started showing things that couldn't have been filmed. Corridors folding inward, shadows moving against gravity, faces blooming from darkness, like reflections on water. And through it all, that breathing, steady, patient. I thought I had blacked out. But when I opened my eyes, the reel was still spinning. Only now the image was of a room that looked exactly like mine. Same walls, same table, same chair. Except in the chair sat me, staring into the projector. The image was perfect, down to the faint scar on my wrist. I told myself it was a coincidence, a trick of exposure. But the figure on screen blinked when I didn't. It leaned forward. The whispering stopped. Everything stopped. And then it spoke, Not out loud, but inside the silence itself. We can see you now. The light from the projector brightened until it was blinding. I don't remember standing. I remember the air vibrating so hard it felt like my bones were ringing. The next thing I know, I was on the floor. The reel burned through, a perfect circle of ash on the film where the light had eaten it, but the hum never left. Even now, as I tell you this, I hear it behind every sound, under every silence. I threw the projector away, but sometimes at night, the walls flicker like there's still a film playing just beneath the paint. I've told myself 100 times it wasn't real, that what I saw was a hallucination. Stress, maybe gas leaking in the lab. But there's one thing I can't explain. Every device I've owned since then, my phone, my laptop, even the camera I use for these videos occasionally shows a single frame of static, just one. If you pause it at the right moment, you can see what's inside the static. A room, white and cold, and a figure sitting perfectly still with its head wrapped in gauze. Sometimes the figure moves. Sometimes it doesn't. But the last time I looked, it was facing the camera again. And this time the gauze had begun to slip. If you find the video online, the one titled Cross-Section-of-a-Living-Man, the footage they tried to bury, don't watch it all the way through. They say the final frame changes each time. For some people it's blank, for some it's static, and for some it's a reflection that doesn't move when you do. Low breath of wind, faint heartbeat under static. If you're still hearing my voice, that means you made it through. But the sound you're rehearing under my words, that quiet hum I senti, part of the video, it's already there, in the space around you, waiting for you to notice. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Once you know it's watching, you can't pretend it isn't. So when this recording ends, do one thing for me. Turn off the lights, listen closely, and tell me if the silence sounds the same, because if it doesn't, if there's a faint breathing behind the quiet, then maybe you found the real too. And if you did, then it's already starting over. Sound fades into slow static hiss, almost like a heartbeat. If you want to understand what happens after this, there's another tape. It appeared online last week. Same title, different ending. I'm not watching it again, but if you have the courage or the curse of curiosity, follow the link. Just don't look away when the whisper begins. That's when it sees you.